Well, I started doing this and then realized there probably aren't very many videos out there about this. So it is started already, but I have here a beaver tail that I'm going to skin for leather. So all I did was took my knife here. This was a knife made for me by the late Jack Whitman. So I went in here along the edge, right there. And skin down. There is a split here, so it's a little bit trickier, but this is about an 8-inch wide beaver tail, and you know, you need about 7 inches when you tan them if you want to do like a wallet or something. So you could make a sheath out of thinner or narrower ones. So then I flipped it over and did the same thing on this side. Just ran my knife carefully, keeping exactly on the edge there. I just went down to about here, because as you get down, you can just kind of fillet it off. But, so when, we get that out of here, just wash the counter after. And then, you know, I took my knife here, and almost like you're filleting a fish, sort of. And so I got it about to here, and, you know, as you get kind of towards the tip of the tail, the leather gets thinner, but you can feel, I mean, even more than when you're skinning an animal, you can feel if you start to hit the leather. And I like to have a very, very sharp knife for this, as with most skinning, obviously, but just kind of, this is part of, you know, using the whole animal. You know, you could certainly get some money for these if you didn't want to tan it and make something out of it. You could get some money for these at the first sale and just utilize more of the animal. You could use the fat from the actual tail to make beaver tail oil, which is an excellent coyote and wolf lure. Bobcat too. I haven't personally used it on bobcat, but I have heard good things about it as a bobcat lure. So there you can kind of see I was starting to get a little thin there. I mean, I didn't cut through or anything, but I'll do a skinning video and then I will do a fleshing video, or depending how long this goes, maybe all in one. But the fleshing is pretty simple. It's just a matter of securing it, since you're not going to have a fleshing board to, like you would put a critter on that you'd skin. This was a beaver I had actually nuisance trapped in, I think it was July, for a landowner. But, you know, I skinned it and harvested the meat and had this tail in the freezer. But the trap line's been pretty slow lately, and I only have about a dozen coyote sets out right now. Actually, I think only 10 actually. I've been slowly pulling the non-productive ones. Tuesday, which will be December 30th, I'm probably going to pull all of my coyote traps, and then I got permission to trap a large area starting in January. That'll be for mostly bobcat, but beaver as well. Hopefully do some under ice beaver trapping. Oh, there we go. We came to that split. So there's that split. Just an old battle scar from this beaver. It's about a 55-pound beaver. So definitely had been around the block. But and I am actually going to tan this myself. I've tanned, you know, critters before, never tanned a beaver tail, so it'll be a learning curve, I'm sure. But so I got that split done there. Now I'll just go down. I'm gonna pause the video and we'll come back when I'm doing something more interesting. Okay, so actually I'll just finish this side and then it'll be self-explanatory. But so I'm just going right here along that split, or after the split. And so I split this almost to the tip. I don't know if, yeah. So there's the tip. My thumbs are where there's another little scar there, but that very end will just fillet off. So I'm gonna come around to this side. It almost looks like a fish. It's kind of funny. But interesting little fact for you. What is it, Lent, where you can only eat fish, or Good Friday or something? I'm drawing a blank. I'm a bad Christian. But beaver were actually, back in the day, considered you were allowed to eat beaver meat because their tails they were considered scaled critters and they live in the water. So you could eat fish or beaver meat. There's your useless fact of the day that you'll probably never need to know in your life, but I find interesting. Just trying to be careful here to make sure I don't cut through. Ooh, yeah, they get real thin towards the tail here. Real thin and kind of bony. I'm going to do this so that you guys can see. So this is, I don't know, it's like hard to describe. The words are escaping me, but basically, yeah, you can see what I've done here. So I'm just peeling that off and we'll worry about the flesh on the leather later. And if you start to see blue, then you're basically hitting the leather. I mean, if you want to clean skin these like some people do a beaver, you totally could. I've always been more of a rough skinner. With beaver, and same thing with the tails. I get the hide or leather off and then I worry about fleshing later. One of these days I would like to actually fully clean skin a beaver, but I've tried it before and it took so long that I ended up rough skinning the last half of it. I'm not particularly fast, as you can see, at skinning pretty much anything. I mean, I do coyotes in about 20 minutes, but even before I trapped and when I would skin deer, I mean, it would very meticulous and probably too meticulous, but I tend to do a pretty good job so I don't make too many cuts into the hide. Watch, now I'll make one having said that. But I've always been a slow and steady wins the race kind of guy. And if you do cut through down here at the tip, it's not a big deal because if you're doing wallets or something, your main portion is going to be like a square going from about here. Once it starts getting neck down, it's somewhat useless, but if you're selling it at a fur sale or something for aesthetic reasons, you probably want to have two complete halves of a tail. But if it's for your own use, I wouldn't worry too much. I mean, you could even cut the tip off and just get your square, but just the tip though. Oh, yep. And of course, now that I had said I'm real meticulous, I did cut a little hole down here at the tip, but that's not going to matter at all. Much better than doing it up here. Much, much better. All right, so we'll get this half off here. Yes, I'm doing this on my kitchen counter. Clearly, I am not married. But it's the joys of being a bachelor. Like, you know, the other day, my garage where I skin is unheated. The other day, I was needed to put up a badger, so I did it in my kitchen with some cardboard down to catch any flushings. But, so there you have it. There's one half of a beaver tail that split. That was that old battle wound. We'll do a flushing video probably next time.